Hello everyone, my name is Ray Bowman and this is my week 3 presentation for MPA 590, Organizational Theory for Public Administration. And this week's presentation will focus on neoclassical theories and how it relates to the task force prep. The focus is on two themes. The first is efficiency and the second is human relations. As a quick overview, on the efficiency side, we'll take a look at Frederick Taylor's scientific management and Max Weber's theory of bureaucracy. And on the human relations side, we'll take a look at Mary Parker Follett's ideas about authority and Elton Mayo's Hawthorne experiment. I'll also reference two articles that expand on these ideas, Chen Cheng's analysis of Taylor and Narendra Sethi's interpretation of Follett. And for both, of course, I'll provide task force examples. So let's start with Frederick Taylor and scientific management. His section can be found in our classics book between pages 56 and 58. And the theory of scientific management essentially revolves around the one best way to do a job, essentially analyzing and standardizing tasks in order to maximize productivity and increase efficiency. And we see this approach in government today, whether it's emergency response or standardized forms or permits. It's all designed to reduce errors and ensure consistency. In the PrEP task force, scientific management would help with tasks like maybe FEMA reimbursement documentation, where there's a step-by-step procedures that ensures accuracy and speed. But Taylor's principles can be argued to have been potentially misunderstood. Chen Cheng, who wrote in the Journal of Multidisciplinary Research, argues that Taylor's ideas were turned into rigid scientism, essentially an overemphasis on rationality and procedure that lost sight of the people doing the work. So Chung points out that Taylor actually valued harmony and cooperation. This shows us that while efficiency is powerful, it can become too mechanical if we ignore the human side. Building off of this is Max Weber, who provided characteristics of bureaucracy, which can be found in our classics book between pages 62 and 67. Some of these characteristics include hierarchy, a solid structured division of labor, formal rules, and a focus and emphasis on expertise. The strength of bureaucracy is predictability and fairness. For example, when you apply for a driver's license, you expect the same process as the next person applying for a driver's license. So in the PrEP task force, Weber's model would provide structure during an emergency. So in the EOC, there would be a clear chain of command, the incident commander at the top, with fire and police and public works, finance and IT each playing essentially defined roles, and it provides accountability and reduces confusion. Now let's turn to the human relations side of public administration and start with Mary Parker Follett, who offered a different perspective. In her essay, The Giving of Orders, which can be found in our classics book between pages 74 and 82, she argued that authority should come from the task itself. Maybe the workers have authority, and it shouldn't just be from the person giving commands. She also argued that Taylor's scientific management often depersonalized orders by reducing them to mechanical instructions. She agreed that orders are important, but that they needed to be repersonalized. One of the main quotes that we know Mary Parker Follett by is power with versus power over, and it essentially emphasized this idea that leaders and workers should collaborate instead of one dominating the other. The peer-reviewed article is by Narendra Sethi. Narendra Sethi wrote in the Academy of Management Journal and essentially expands on this by showing how Follett introduced concepts like cumulative authority and cross-functioning authority, where authority and leadership is woven throughout the organization instead of concentrated at the top. So in the PrEP task force, this might mean IT could take the lead during a cyber incident, while fire and public works might take the lead in a wildfire. So authority shifts depending on the task at hand. Elton Mayo also added to this human-centered perspective with the Hawthorne experiments. His research showed that productivity and efficiency didn't just improve from some formulaic change like a physical change in lighting, but productivity and efficiency improved when workers felt noticed, they felt seen, they felt valued, and that they were working as part of the team. So the Hawthorne effect essentially revealed that motivation can matter as much as an employee's working conditions. So for the PrEP task force, this means remembering that disaster response isn't just about bureaucratic procedures and checklists or a scientific formula, but it requires supporting staff through recognition of their contributions, attention to their morale during stressful events, and maybe, shifting rotations. Here is a list of the references used for this week's presentation. And in closing, the takeaway is that Taylor and Weber remind us why efficiency and structure matter in public administration because it gives us predictability, fairness, and accountability. However, Follett and Mayo also remind us that organizations are made up of people, and motivation, collaboration, and shared responsibility across the organization are essential for effectiveness. And essentially, the takeaway is that public administration can't really choose between efficiency and human relations, but they need a balance of both. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time, and I look forward to your presentations. Have a great day.